Lake Nakuru National Park is in Kenya on the east side of Africa and is famous for its thousands, even sometimes millions of flamingos that gather. As we travel deep into the heart of the park, we will encounter many animal species as we seek out the flamingos' favorite spots. Africa's Great Rift Valley is surrounded by extinct and dormant volcanoes. The valley is referred to as the cradle of mankind because of its archaeological findings. Rapidly eroding highlands once filled the valley with sediments, creating a favorable environment for the preservation of remains. The bones of several hominid ancestors of modern humans have been found there. Over 1,000 species of birds can be found in Kenya. But the real spectacle belongs to the hordes of lesser flamingos.
Why are there so many flamingos?
It's a primary feeding spot as there is an abundance of their favorite food, blue-green algae. It's also a key environmental landmark, providing food and refuge for a multitude of Africa's wild animals. In 1984, Lake Nakuru became a government-managed rhinoceros sanctuary. There is now a strong population of black rhinos and white rhinos. Their defining feature is the horn on top of their snout. The horns are made of keratin, a protein that also makes up hair and fingernails. However, the horn is most similar to a horse's hoof. A unique feature of the horn is that it's not connected to the skull. Rhinos are the second largest land animal behind the elephant and have been around for 30 to 40 million years.
Incredible. Just look at the size of him. Now, they get their name as the white rhino from the Afrikaans word weit, which actually means wide. They're called a wide rhino because of their mouth being extremely wide. The word's been corrupted, now they're called the white rhino. So they're happy on the short grass, they're just grazing away. He seems really content at the moment, just eating away. He's not even looked up as we drove up. You see, he just sprayed then. He's just scenting this area, possibly because we're here. He's just showing us that he's boss, it's his piece of grass. Doesn't want us going over there and having a nibble.
What other animals are around the Lake Nakuru area?
There are zebra, baboon, gazelle, lion, giraffe, and many, many more. The park is small at 188 square kilometers, but it hosts over 50 different mammal species and 400 bird species. Nakuru means waterbuck haven in Kiswahili language. These antelope are common in the park. They are known to have a distinct foul odor. Their shaggy coats emit a smelly and greasy secretion for waterproofing. In fact, they smell so bad, even most predators avoid them. Although not very common, these lions have found a quiet tree to get some rest. It's believed that they do this to avoid flies and to enjoy a cool breeze. Rather than hold their nose while eating a smelly waterbuck, there are plenty of gazelles wandering the park, a favorite meal for the lions. It would take a brave lion or a pack of lions to dare taking on a buffalo like this for dinner. Even though the buffalo seem placid and are herbivores, if provoked, they are known to be very dangerous. On a more peaceful note, these are Rothschild giraffe. They are only found in Kenya and Uganda. Their spot designs are slightly different from the common giraffe. They can have 5 horns as opposed to the common giraffe that has 2. Even when approaching Lake Nakuru from a distance, the flocks of flamingos are one of the most magnificent and colorful displays in the animal kingdom.
Wow, there are so many flamingos.
Yes, there are hundreds of thousands or sometimes millions of birds here. Flamingos are very social birds. The colonies gather here because it's an excellent feeding location. Although they share these grounds with a variety of other animals, the flamingos thrive here because they require certain characteristics in their habitats. They usually prefer mangrove swamps, tidal flats, estuarine lagoons, and sandy islands on the intertidal zone. But here at Lake Nakuru, they feed off large alkaline or soda lakes. Although flamingos mainly fly distances at night, they stay at high altitudes if they need to take a journey in daylight to avoid the storks or the many other airborne predators.
Those storks don't look too friendly.
Despite their appearance and size, they're mostly a scavenging bird, often feeding on flamingo carcasses. One of the largest flying birds in the world, storks can have a wingspan of 6 to 7 feet. At 150 centimeters or 4 feet tall and sometimes 9 kilograms or 20 pounds, these storks are unmistakable. Another definable feature is the 2 large inflatable subcutaneous air sacs. One bright pink medium-sized bulbous sac protrudes from the feathers of the upper back, and a larger flesh-colored gular sac hangs below the throat when inflated.
Can flamingos fly quickly to get away from predators?
Yes, ornithologists have discovered that they can fly at 60 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour, and sometimes travel up to 600 kilometers in one night between food sites.
How do flamingos communicate with each other?
They are very vocal. It's vital to their survival. They have a variety of sounds, ranging from the loud honking when they fly to the soft chatter while they feed. Chicks vocalize before they hatch, so that parents may learn to recognize their call. This becomes quite useful when they're trying to find their young when they're mixed in with tens of thousands of birds on the lake. Flamingos also communicate with body signals. In the course of a breeding event, flamingos take part in collective displays as they simultaneously go through ritualized postures and movements. One ritual, known as the head flag, involves groups of flamingos stretching their necks and heads up as high as possible, with their bills pointing upwards, and then rhythmically turning their heads from one side to the other.
I've got little or no sense of smell. That's probably a good thing, because I literally stood in thousands of flamingos' piles of excrement at the moment. So you don't want to have a good sense of smell when you've got your head dip down in it like that.
How do they spend most of their day?
Flamingos spend most of their time feeding, resting, and bathing. But a good part of the day is dedicated to preening, using their bill to distribute oil from a gland at the base of their tail to their feathers for waterproofing.
How did their feathers become so colorful?
Flamingos get their vibrant colors from the carotenoid in their diet. Carotenoids are organic pigments found in the blue-green algae that flamingos feast on. It's an important natural ingredient also found in carrots, sweet potatoes, and tomatoes. Often, a white or pale-colored flamingo is unhealthy or malnourished. However, they shouldn't be confused with immature flamingos that are also white or gray. It takes a year or two of feeding before the young ones achieve the wonderful hues of the elders. When a chick hatches from the egg, it has a straight red bill and pink legs that both turn black in 7 to 10 days. The bill will also begin to hook after about 11 weeks, so that they're able to feed themselves. Until then, adults feed their chicks a secretion of milk from their upper digestive tract. The milk secretion is caused by the hormone prolactin, which both the male and female flamingo produce. The milk is high in fat and protein, and is red in color due to the pigment canthaxanthin. Chicks store this pigment in the liver to be utilized when adult feathers are grown.
What do they do once they are able to feed themselves?
They learn how to use their long legs and partially webbed feet to stomp on the bottom of the lake in the shallows, mixing up the food particles with the water. Lowering their heads and tilting them slightly upside down, they sweep their heads from side to side close to the surface of the water to collect food with their deep-keeled bill. Lesser flamingos filter food and mud out of the water with a spiny piston-like tongue that helps pull food-filled water past the lamellae inside the curved bill. The fringed lamellae filter out food, and the water is passed back out of the bill. In addition to filtering food into the bill, lamellae also exclude foods that may be too large to swallow. They can filter through 60 tons of algae in just one day. The algae feeds off the flamingo's droppings mixed in with the warm alkaline waters, creating one of the closest connected food chains in the animal kingdom. In addition to the blue-green algae, their typical diet consists of diatoms, seeds, crustaceans, mollusks, and plankton. The blue-green algae have produced some of the oldest known fossils on Earth.
The shoreline here is covered in feathers from where the birds have been molting, but also by these white waves. That's where, as the water's evaporated, it's left this sodium or salt deposits.
Why is there so much algae at the lake?
The sodium carbonate residue around the lake is not only a valuable resource in producing glass and paper, but it's the perfect breeding ground for the blue-green algae. However, the alkaline saline lake has seen drastic fluctuations in depth and salinity, with major consequences for the local ecology. In the last 30 years, the waters have receded, the lake shrinking by over 20%. Despite the park being safeguarded from development, the nearby areas are not. Nearby forests are being cut down, resulting in soil erosion which sometimes washes into the lake. Other waste and sewage may be entering the ecosystem, causing the deaths of hundreds of flamingos. Their numbers were also reduced because of the El Niño weather pattern that flooded the lake, changing the alkaline concentration.
What kind of pollution is a problem in the park?
Industrialization in the town of Nakuru has resulted in some unfortunate toxic side effects. Arsenic, cadmium, copper, lead, chromium, and other toxic substances were found near the lake in the 1990s, and a large number of flamingos died due to a high concentration of toxins from these metals.
Is anybody doing anything to help the animals at Lake Nakuru?
Yes, there are several organizations dedicated to the conservation and preservation of the park. It's declared a Ramsar site, which is a convention that provides an outline for national action and international cooperation for the conservation and wise use of wetlands and their resources. The World Wildlife Fund incorporated the Pollutant Release and Transfer Registry system to track the types and amounts of various pollutants being released by individual industries. Combined with the efforts of the local residents and additional awareness campaigns, the Nakuru Basin is seeing improvements in preservation. In order to focus in more on their behavior, 2 special flamingos on the lake, named Imara and Akima, have been satellite tagged as part of a project to monitor their movements. Scientists are able to study their migration patterns, various locations, stopover and staging sites, and speed and altitude during travel. Commonly referred to as the greatest ornithological spectacle on Earth, Lake Nakuru draws many visitors from all over the world to experience its diversity. From afar, the colors are stunning as the many different shades of white and pink flamingos shimmer across the water. Lake Nakuru National Park is their only officially protected sanctuary. Through further preservation and conservation efforts, we will experience this diverse ecosystem for generations to come.